Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave. Hope you're doing well. So I wanted to share a little story with you today. Are you okay with that? A story? Yeah, story time. Story time's always good. And we're going to be talking today about the fact that you've done hard things before in your past. But if somebody believed in you, would you go ahead and start your podcast? If somebody saw something in you and went, you can do this. And you're like, I don't think I can. But they're like, no, we're going to do it. Let's go. And you have no choice. You just have to go. Something happened to me. And I wanted to share the story with you and maybe learn something together. And I got some great things to motivate you in your podcast journey. Especially if you haven't even started yet. Maybe you're brand new, first time here. Welcome to the How to Podcast series. My name is Dave. And let's jump in. You've done hard things before, and if somebody believed in you, would you start a podcast? I think you would. So I have my wife, Jennifer, and I have 3 kids. And the 5 of us went to do some family stuff together. And a couple of times we went and we rented dirt bikes, and we went for the day of riding. And we were younger back then, and our bones were a little more flexible. And we would take the family, and we'd spend the morning being trained by professionals in full gear, brand new bikes. We would be trained. We'd have to go through all these practical stuff, how to go over a log, how to stop, all that stuff. Pick up your bike, everything. And they teach you. And then you go ride the trails in the afternoon. So the 5 of us with a leader in front of us, the 5 of us, and someone behind us, also kind of there to support us. All 7 of us would go out and ride trails after learning the mechanics of riding a bike. We loved it. We had a great time. And so we're riding around, doing the thing, and we kind of come to this part in the trail where they have this little side thing where you can use like little hills and like little bunny hills, and it's kind of like a little mini track. So kids are small and my wife's out there as well riding. We're all having a great time. We're all riding different size bikes, and it's great. My wife is amazing. She's like all up for this, and it's so cool. Anyway, so we're out riding, doing the whole thing, and one of the leaders rides up to me on his bike. And I have a full-size bike, like I'm on tippy toes to when I'm stopped to keep it from falling over while I'm sitting on the bike. He rides up to me and he's like, okay, Dave, while these guys are doing their thing with the other trainer, I think you and I need to go hit the trail. And I looked at him, and I have my helmet on, so I can't really hear very well. And I'm like, what did you say? He's like, yeah, we're going to go. These guys are learning. They're doing great. But I can tell you're bored, and it's time to go hit the real trails. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's other trails? So, okay, just for context, I've ridden a handful of times in my past, and to that point, not recently. And here is an expert trainer for us who saw something in me that gave him the confidence to say that Dave could do this. And to be completely transparent, I was like, I don't think I can do this. He's like, yeah, let's go. I'm going to take you on more the advanced trails. And I looked at my wife. She looked at me, a little shrug. And I'm like, okay. And off he takes off. He's like, stick with me. Stay right behind me. And he guns it, and he's gone. There's a cloud of dust, and there's no more trainer. Just me. My bike is idling. And I'm like, I click it in gear, and okay, here we go. I think he went that way. So I started going on this path, and deep into the forest, off I go. To find out that I'm on an advanced trail with steep downhills, straight up verticals, deep canyons and trees and branches and short little narrow paths, and come out of one spot and you look down and you're looking down at the road way down below you, and then you're back in the forest again, deep ruts that You can tell bikes have been through here many times. And the guy in front of me, the trainer, would go zipping down and up the other side, and then he'd park at the top waiting for me. Now it's my turn. So he said, just follow my path, follow my route. So I would go down the hill a little more timid than he is, and I'd catch up to him. And then he'd go a little further, and I'd catch up to him again. And the entire time I'm thinking, I can't do this. I want to go back with my family and do the little bunny hills. But he kept pushing me and saying, you're really good at this. Keep going. This is great. You're doing awesome. And in my mind, every single turn, every hill, every obstacle I came up to, I'm like, I can't do this. This is impossible. I have no idea what I'm doing. But for some reason, this person has faith in me that I'm doing this right. But everything inside of me is screaming, you're going to really hurt yourself. You shouldn't be here. You fooled this person into believing that you know how to ride this machine. You know you don't know how to do this, right? Like the entire time. You know, Dave, that you don't know how to do this. This person does this for a living. You do this once every 5 to 10 years. What are you doing? And I wanted to give up so many times because this person would be like out of sight. They're gone. And now I got to pretend like I know where they went and try to catch up. All I can see is the dust kind of in the distance of where I think they went. And we made our way back after riding for, 30, 40 minutes, way out in the middle of nowhere, far from my family. I was completely lost. If I didn't keep up with this person, I would be stranded. I'm thinking, I'm going to break my leg. I'm going to break this bike. I'm going to run into a tree. A bear is going to jump me. I don't know. All of these fears in my head. And when we rolled back up to my family, my wife looked at me, and I guess I was like white. My face was really white because I just I can't believe what I just did. And he said to my wife, yeah, Dave did great. It was awesome. He did a really good job. And I'm like, I did it. I did something that I thought I would never do. I would never sign up for this. I would never have asked if I could go on the advanced trails. I know my capabilities. I know what I can't do. And this person saw through all of that junk in my brain and went, you look bored. Let's go for a ride. And I thought, wow, the power in that moment, that one person who saw something in me that they said, you know what? I know you can do this. So let's stop talking about it. Let's just go. And I thought about that in the context of podcasting. In that, if you had somebody who looked at you across the table at the coffee shop and went, you know what? I see something great in you. I see something in you that I don't see in everyone. I see the potential that you're going to be really good at being a podcaster. Let's go. Let's do this. And you're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I haven't been to school for this. I don't know anything about technology. I don't even know how my podcast gets out in the world. I don't know if anybody's going to listen to me. Like, how dare you think that I could do this? And I don't think I can. I didn't think I could do this trail. But this instructor saw something in me that told them I could. And I did it. I did. So I think you can start a podcast. If you've pressed play on this episode, there is an inkling in you, whether or not you have a show yet or not, you have the desire, interest, the curiosity to jump on the bike and give it a try. So you're here. And for me, that's good enough. That's enough for me to say, you're ready for the trails. You're ready to go for a real ride. You're ready to do this. Stop playing around in research. Stop playing around in the little easy parts of podcasting where you're just collecting information. And now it's time to hit the trails. It's time for you to go. And I think you can do this. And I'm here for you, sitting beside you saying, it's time to go. It's time to do the thing. It's time to start your podcast. And you're like, Dave, I can't do this. Yes, you can. And you need to stop saying you can't. Because I see some greatness in you, and I'm here to help you. So let's go. Click it in gear. It's time to go. Creating your podcast is a journey. It's a new adventure. And like any new thing that we do, it's quite daunting to think that there's this thing in front of me that I've never really done before. I don't know everything about it, and I feel intimidated. But here's Dave saying I can do this. When you realize it doesn't get easier as a podcaster, people will tell you that. The longer you podcast, the easier it becomes. I want to challenge that. Podcasting is hard. Riding a dirt bike is hard when the path is not really smooth and easy and manicured and perfect. It's rough when you're jumping over trees and going through ditches and straight up hills that you feel like you're sliding off the back of your bike. It's hard. Podcasting doesn't get easier. You get stronger. The task is still the same. The task is still difficult. Getting on the microphone and recording your voice is difficult. Technology is difficult. It doesn't get easier for you over time. You become a stronger person. And by your strength increasing, the task seems easier. Podcasting doesn't get easier as you do this. You become a stronger person. And as I navigate the uncharted waters of podcasting, even with all the resources out there, I find myself resonating deeply with the sentiment that it doesn't get easier, I just get stronger. The challenges that I encounter in podcasting don't diminish in difficulty over time. Instead, I grow stronger with each hurdle that I overcome. In my early days of podcasting, every step felt like it was a monumental task because I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm doing this for the first time. From mastering the technical aspects to finding my voice in a sea of countless other podcasters, the journey is really overwhelming. However, with each episode that I create, each new listener that is reached, each new email or SpeakPipe message that comes from you, I feel myself becoming more adept at navigating the complexities of podcasting. And as I look back on my time as a podcaster over the years, I realize that it's not that podcasting becomes inherently easier over time. Rather, it's just my resilience and my being able to adapt in the moment. Again, go back to the bike. Adapt. I can't do this. Yes, you can. Let's go. There's no time to think. Just click it into gear. Let's go. As I confront and conquer my obstacles, the trees, the ditch, the hills, the inexperience, that's where I get more confidence as I address those things on the path. When I get faced with something new or something challenging in podcasting, what I do is I remind myself of the past triumphs. I reassure myself in those moments that I have the strength to endure and succeed in my podcast because I've done it before. And when I have moments of doubt and fatigue, I employ familiar strategies to keep pushing forward. I engage in positive self-talk. I remind myself that this discomfort is temporary and the rewards are worth the struggle. I take a moment to breathe, deeply refocus, knowing that I can endure whatever challenges come my way because, again, somebody saw greatness in me and gave me the spark and the push to do this. And every time I'm faced with this trial, tribulation, anything in podcasting that I'm learning and I'm growing, I always come out stronger and more resilient because I clicked into gear and went. It's not always going to be immediate that I'm going to see growth in my podcast. It might not always be visible to all those around me, even to myself. But I know that every time I overcome a hurdle, I learn something new, I'm becoming a better podcaster and more confident in this role as a podcaster. And it's going to happen for you. So I have some action items around this that I want to share with you. And there's 7. Okay. And I'll have a link, I'll have all this information in the show notes so you can read through this as well. But this is something I really want you to think about, put into place for you and your podcast and for your journey. Okay. So now that we've kind of talked about the concept of growth and the challenge and being resilient and all that in the context of podcasting, it's time for us to do some real action-oriented things. And I have some practical steps that you can use to kickstart your podcasting journey. So whether you have no episodes or 1,000, you can put these into place today. Okay, so first, as a podcaster, identify your passion and your unique voice. As a podcaster, we need to take some time to reflect on what topics we're passionate about and what unique perspective or expertise that we can bring into the podcasting world around that topic. Whether it's discussing your favorite hobbies, sharing your insights from your profession, or just exploring niche interests, something that really interests you and you're passionate about. Identify those, because in that, your unique voice will shine. So that's number 1. Number 2, you got to set clear goals and milestones for your podcast. Have you clearly defined your podcasting goals? Whether it's reaching a certain number of listens, producing a set number of episodes, or establishing yourself as an authority in your niche, you got to break down these goals into smaller, more achievable milestones to keep yourself motivated and track your progress. For riding the dirt bikes, right? With my family, I didn't jump to the advanced trail on my first day of riding. I learned how to brake. I learned how to change gears. I learned how to operate the clutch. I had to learn all these things, right? Before I graduated to something a little more extreme. And so those are breaking down a big goal into small, more clear milestones. So once I've learned all the steps, now I can hit the trails. So for you and your podcast, what are those little things you need to work on before you jump onto the advanced trail? Set clear goals and milestones. That's a really key point for you to address the overwhelm that comes thinking, I can't do this. Number 3 is equip yourself with knowledge and resources. Research, research, research. That's something you can do right away as a potential new podcaster. You're listening to this podcast right now. So that tells me that you are interested and curious about podcasting. To grow your show or start a show, you're here. That's the beginning point. And whether you find the inspiration for your show from this podcast or others, from books, from YouTube videos, whatever it is, you need to surround yourself and equip yourself with knowledge and resources. Research all the technical aspects of podcasting, such as recording equipment, editing software, hosting platforms. There are plenty of online resources, tutorials, communities. We have our meetups we do on a regular basis. You're invited. howtopodcast.ca. You can go sign up and be part of our free meetups and meet other podcasters with the exact same questions and journey as you. We can all meet together and do this together. Find the knowledge and resources that are around you. It's plentiful. There's so much knowledge out there now. Compared to when it first started years ago in podcasting, where there's only a handful of people doing this, there are so many great tools and resources out there. And make sure you find a voice that resonates with you in podcasting, and don't just go with whatever's convenient at the time. Make sure that person speaks to you, and hopefully this podcast does that for you as well. Equip yourself with knowledge and resources. That was number 3. Number 4, take the first step. Don't let fear of the unknown hold you back. Start small. Start by recording a small trailer episode, a pilot episode, something simple, a couple minutes. That's just outlining your podcast format and content. A welcome episode to a new listener. Remember, it's okay to start imperfectly Every podcaster has to begin somewhere, and it has to start with a microphone and the record button. That's it. Everyone has to start somewhere. And the podcast you admire the most, with the 100,000 listeners, started with a microphone and a record button and didn't really know what they were doing. But somebody said, you have greatness in you. I see potential in you. You need to be a podcaster. And I see that in you. So I'm telling you to start. So take the first step. That's number 4. Number 5, practice resilience and perseverance. You got to understand that challenges and setbacks are inevitable in podcasting in your journey. We need to embrace these challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, not as an obstacle that stops us from podcasting. When you're faced with an obstacle, like me, riding the bike through the forest, you come across a tree that's fallen down across the path. That's an obstacle. But going back to my training, when we rode around in the morning with our coaches, they showed us how to go over a tree. They taught us how to do it properly. So when the obstacle comes up in my path on the trail and I can't go around it, I have to go over it. I don't throw my bike down, take my helmet off, and walk off into the forest and give up because, there's a tree in front of me. No, I was shown how to get over this obstacle, so now I'm going to go over it. Am I afraid? Yes. Am I going to look foolish? I might fall off my bike. Am I going to crash? Maybe. But I was also taught how to do this properly, so if I do what I was shown, I'll be fine. And I just grip it and rip it. Here we go. And that's what I want to do in this podcast is when you come to that obstacle, and you will, that you'll be like, Dave told me this was going to happen. And here's how to get over it, how I can get past this obstacle. And I'm going to do what Dave said. And, look, I did it. I got past it. When you're faced with obstacles, draw upon your inner strength, your determination that you have internally, and on the knowledge and resources that you have gathered over the years. You will face obstacles and you will be successful. I believe in you. That's why I invited you on this path. Number 6, we need to seek feedback and then iterate. Once you've launched your podcast, you need to go ask for feedback from friends, fellow podcasters, early listeners, and use their insights to refine your content, to improve on your delivery as a podcaster, and to enhance the overall listening experience for everyone. That's how you're going to grow your show. Remember, constructive criticism is invaluable for growth. When you get feedback and it's helpful and it's instructive and it's something that you can put into place that doesn't change your message or you as a person, then take the feedback, iterate, and change. And if you're like, Dave, I would love to get feedback on my podcast, I actually do feedback episodes where I bring your podcast in, kind of deconstruct it together with you and the audience. And then I release an episode featuring your podcast, taking an entire episode to kind of review your show and give you some feedback on your podcast, your website, social media, whatever you want. And my only request for this is that you don't pay me. It's free for you to come to me and have me do this. I don't charge. But what I ask you to do in that feedback episode is to select a charity of your choice, make a donation to that charity, and then tell me what that charity is so that we can promote that charity on your feedback episode here on the How to Podcast series. I've done this in the past, and I would love to do it for you. So that's just go to howtopodcast.ca and let's do a feedback episode on your show. Okay? Again, you don't pay me anything, and I'd love to do that for you. Seek feedback and iterate. And lastly, number 7 is celebrate your progress. When I rode back up to my family on the bikes, and I just looked at my wife like, I have so much to tell you. As far as where I've been, I couldn't even tell you I know I went left, right, up, down, left, right, many, many times. But I couldn't retrace my steps or my path if I tried. But I had faith in the trainer, who had more experience than I did, that they knew where they were going. And I had faith that they would bring me back to my family, and they did. Was I exhausted? Yes. Did I feel triumphant in the fact that I did something I thought I could never do? Yeah. Because somebody saw something in me that said to them that I could do this. If they looked at me and went, I don't know about this guy, I don't think he's going to be able to do this, they would have never made the offer to take me on the advanced trail. And in that, I want to celebrate with you that you can do this. I see it in you. And I know that you have everything you need to start and grow your show. You need to celebrate your progress. Recognize and celebrate your achievements along the way. Don't minimize it. When somebody gives you great feedback, hey, I love your show. Don't be like, yeah, okay, well, thanks. Celebrate that. Celebrate it. Doesn't matter how small your podcast is right now. Celebrate any type of progress that you make as a person, or feedback that you receive from your audience. Whether it's reaching a milestone episode, receiving positive reviews, or connecting with your listeners, take pride in how far you've come on your podcasting journey. By taking these action steps and embracing the challenges of podcasting, you'll not only grow stronger as a content creator, but you're also going to enrich the lives of your audience with your unique perspective and insights. Remember, I can't do your show, and you can't do my show. I can do a show similar to yours, and you could do a show similar to mine, but you can't do the show. You're not Dave, and I can't do your show because I'm not you. Start your podcasting journey today and let your voice be heard. I've now ridden up beside you and looked at you and said, you look like you're ready to go. You look like you're ready to go to something a little more advanced. It's time for you to ride. It's time to stop practicing, and it's time for you to ride. I see something in you. I see the potential. So let's go. I want to show you some adventurous trails in podcasting that you're never going to see here in this little practice area. It's time to go. It's time to go. Just stick with me, follow me, stay with me, and follow my trail, follow my path. And I'll wait for you at the top of each hill. I'll wait for you around each corner for you to catch up. And there's going to be times where you're going to be riding in podcasting and feeling like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe that this person believes in me. I can't believe that I'm actually doing the thing. I see the dust ahead of me from where the person I'm following is just slightly ahead of me. So I know that I'm on the right path. But it's my path to ride. Nobody's going to get this bike out of here if something happens. I have to do it myself. So I'm going to do it because that person believes in me. I believe in you. And I think your podcast is going to be amazing. So let's go. Click in. Grip it and rip it. It's time to go. We need your podcast in the world. Are you ready? Come on, follow me. Let's go. Hey, thanks for being here on the How to Podcast series. Glad to have you on the show with us, listening in. I hope they're finding value in the podcast. I hope you're finding something that helps you with your show, helps you with the tools and the information from these amazing guest co-hosts through our daily Daves and these solo episodes. The variety of what we're doing here on the podcast is all designed for you so that you can get the tools you need to create your podcast and keep going with your show. That's why we're here. That's why I'm doing this. And I'm glad you're here finding value in this. If you would like to do a little bit more than just be a listener, if you want to do community with podcasters, we have a thing called our Meetup on meetup.com. You can come find us, and there'll be a link on our website at howtopodcast.ca, and you can come and join in on our meetup. Instead of just being a listener, you could actually participate and come in and join other podcasters, just like you, at your stage, at your level, where you're at right now. And then other podcasters who are maybe a little further down the road, who can learn from you and you can learn from them. And we host these meetups on a regular basis. Again, go to howtopodcast.ca and you'll find all the information there. We'd love for you to come join us at our next meetup. The only thing we need at our next meetup is you. You're the only thing missing from all of this. So consider joining our meetups. Again, they're totally free on a regular basis, all through howtopodcast.ca. And I'd love to hear more from you about your podcast as well. There's a SpeakPipe link on howtopodcast.ca. Leave a message. I'd love to hear about you and your show and how we can work together to get your message into the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for sharing the show with another podcaster that you're like, hey, I think you'd really like this episode. Go ahead, share the episode, and let's get more podcasters on the mic. Thanks for listening.